Hey guys, what's going on? It's your boy, the Mad Cardigan, up here today with another game review. And today we are reviewing Daymare. I think it's Daymare 1998 for the PlayStation 4. This is the Black Edition. I've already done an unboxing of this. If you want to see it, just come with some postcards and stickers. And I played this last night, and I'm going to be honest with you, I don't think I'm going to play any more of it. It's gone into my sale pile anyway. Um, I'll be honest with you. This game is one of these games that you're either gonna appreciate for what it is, or you're just gonna completely hate on it. I'm gonna start straight off the bat. It is a Resident Evil clone. You can really call it a clone or a throwback or a nod, whatever you want to call it. The gameplay is very much like the Resident Evil 2 remake, Resident Evil 3 remake, Resident Evil 4, the over-the-shoulder survival horror games. Now, there's some things that this game does right, and there's some things that the game doesn't really do too well. So the story of this game, I'll be honest with you, I only did a couple of missions in this game, and I'll be honest with you, I can see where they're going with it. It's the whole, evil organization trying to cover something up, and then you've got there's three different characters. I think it's had three different characters, and obviously their stories intertwine, and it's like a character driven game kind of thing. It does sort of use that sort of setting of Resident Evil and that sort of style to it. Like I said, this game is like Resident Evil, and I think it came out around about the same time. Of course, this is like a throwback to the 90s, survival horror type games. There are some things that, like I said, that work really well, and some things that aren't great. Graphics, I'll be honest with you, the graphics aren't amazing, unfortunately. There is a lot of texture pop in here and there. It doesn't look current gen, unfortunately. Now, you can either look at that as a good thing or a bad thing. Me personally, I feel like they were in two minds whether they wanted to go for a retro style or they wanted to go for a modern look, and they were like, we couldn't decide, so we'll try and do both. And unfortunately, the voice acting is pretty terrible. But again, you can look at that as like a throwback to the 90s, because a lot of the 90s survival horror games and 90s games had terrible voice acting, i.e. the original Resident Evil, Castlevania Symphony of the Night, House of the Dead, and so on. So, it's really one of those things. If you appreciate what the game's trying to do with that aspect, you might appreciate the game. Like I said, the gameplay is very much like Resident Evil 2 remake, or, Resident Evil 4. It's the over-the-shoulder look. You have your run button, your sprint button, your melee button, your shoot button. You have the same sort of inventory type thing, the map system. From what I played of it, it doesn't sort of feel like Resident Evil, in the sense of Resident Evil 2 was sort of what I like to call a single map game, where the whole game took place in one contained area, but obviously it was all about going back to different places, solving puzzles. And this game tries to do that, but unfortunately it actually feels quite linear. It just seems like you're always moving forward, and the only time you really go back, it's not like Resident Evil where you have to go back to an area once you've done it. Once you've done the stuff in that area, you can't go back, so you're always moving forward. So some people might like it for that reason, other people might not. If you're looking for like the original Resident Evil game where it's all about going back and forth and backtracking, you either like it or you don't. But I can understand why maybe they didn't. And maybe they didn't have time for it, or maybe they didn't want to do it like that. There are a few things that I think the game actually does pretty well. There is a lot of Easter eggs in this game, and a lot of achievements that throw Easter eggs to, other pop culture references, to movies, to other horror genres. Like you can find there's an achievement for like the red balloon from It. There's like achievements to do with Jurassic Park, Back to the Future, and other horror classics and things like that. Again, it sort of had that sort of Resident Evil vibe where you can combine items, it's got a puzzle system in here. But there are a few things that actually make this game quite playable for newcomers. So the game has 3 difficulty settings, you know, normal, hard, and Daymare, which is obviously the hardest. And then it has 2 modes. It has the original mode, or the classic mode, I think it's called, and I can't remember what the other mode's called, or the modern take mode, sorry, I think that's what it's called. So the classic mode is obviously more like a survival horror game where, you know, it's got like, you know, less ammo and all of that, and it's all about, you know, the combat feels a little bit more clunky and sort of more orientated to the original style of the games. And then obviously there's also a system where you can do fast reloads and slow reloads. Yeah, so there's like a fast reload and slow reload system, which isn't in the mode that I did, which modern take mode. But I think that's something to do with like how you reload your weapons and stuff. So it does have some unique features to the game. The modern take mode obviously makes the game a little bit more up to date kind of thing. The combat feels a bit smoother. Gameplay wise, it is a bit of a mess, unfortunately. It kind of reminds me of that game Deadly Premonition. You know how that game was well received amongst the gaming community, but when you actually sit back and look at the game, it's a bit of a mess. The enemies stumble. When you shoot enemies, they just sort of ragdoll around on the floor. It's quite glitchy. There is a thing about the puzzle system where if you're doing puzzles, it actually gives you the option to skip doing the puzzles, which, me personally, I'd like that, because one thing I hate when I'm playing a game is if I get stuck on a puzzle or stuck on a part of a game, and, you know, then I have to go onto YouTube or on the internet and look up a walkthrough or something, if I really want to continue on with the game. So I like the fact they do have the option to skip it. I don't know if that's included in both modes. I imagine it's probably not. So there is a lot of accessibility options for this game, for people who've never played a survival horror game, and for people that are well in tune with them. So I do like that they have sort of given people the option. It reminds me of that game Metro 2033, when they did the remake of that. They did, they had the original version of the game with the survival elements, and then they did the Spartan type mode, which made the game more action oriented for people that just wanted to play the game without having to worry about all the survival elements to it. So I like when games do that, because it gives accessibility options for people that perhaps may never have played a survival horror game, and for those who love survival horror games. So, you know, there is some replay factor to this game for those who want to, you know, replay it. It is a bit of a buggy mess. It doesn't look great. It's kind of weak in the gameplay department, but it's one of these games that you're either going to love it for what it is and what it's trying to do, or you're going to hate it completely because it just feels like a really cheap copy of, you know, and people can sit here and just go, well, why play this when you can play Resident Evil 2 Remake, which was a much better game, as we know. But Daymare, it's a smaller developer game, so you can tell that the developers of this game had a lot of fun with it and were just trying to make a game that felt familiar, yet at the same time was trying to be its own thing. But at the same time, people who love those sort of games can probably get some enjoyment out of this. Me personally, I did 2 missions, and I just felt like it's a bit too slow for me, a bit too clunky, and honestly, I really don't care enough to really want to play it. I'll be honest with you, I'm not a huge fan of survival horror games anyway. I love watching people play survival horror games. I love watching people play them. It's just me personally, I prefer something a little bit more action orientated, and it's a bit of a teaser of what I'm going to be playing tonight, Defense Force 5, which I'm debating on whether to change the I'm going to change the cover around, because I think that cover looks pretty awesome. So I'm going to play that tonight. But yeah, so Daymare, I'm going to give Daymare, well, this is the thing. It's kind of going to be like a two star review, star system. For the game itself, I'm going to give it a 5 out of 10. Average at best. Doesn't feel anything great, doesn't really feel next gen. If this came out on the PS3, then maybe, you know, I think it would have done pretty well. But for throwbacks and for people who are fan of survival horrors, I'd give it maybe a 7 out of 10, because it's kind of like feels like for those things. So a 5 out of 10 for the actual game, a 7 out of 10 for what it's trying to be and what it's trying to do for the survival horror fan base. And let me know in the comments below, have you played Daymare? And what are your opinions of it? Like I said, I could imagine, this is one thing I don't mind why I sell when I play the game and I sell it. It's already in my sell pile anyway, but I thought I'd try it out because at least I can say that I've played it. But like I said, knowing my luck, I'll sell it and it will be given away for free on the Game Pass or Games with Gold or PlayStation Plus or PlayStation Now. I think it came out digital on the Xbox as well and PC. I think the PS4 version is the only physical version. I might have got an Xbox One release physical, but I don't think the Black Edition was released. This one is a little bit more sought after. It's about a £20, £25 game, but for the standalone game it's about 10 to 15 pounds, so it's not an expensive game, but for you get what you pay for basically. So but if you enjoyed today's video, feel free to leave a like and of course comment below. Let me know your favorite survival horror game. What survival horror games would you like to see get remastered? Of course Silent Hill would be probably the most popular one out there. What are some survival horror games that you think deserve more attention? I think the Siren games are pretty games that I think I'd love to see get one, like Ju-On the Grudge maybe, the Q-On game, Rule of Rose of course. We all know the expense of that one. But yeah, so and as always guys, also comment below, let me know if you played Daymare and what did you think of it. Me personally, it's not really my type of game, but I can appreciate it for what it's trying to do. Unfortunately, it does fall short in a lot of departments, but it is what it is. So, and of course, subscribe if you haven't already and join the family. Tonight, I am playing Earth Defense Force 5. I think that cover looks much better. I know it don't have any actual artwork or anything on the back, but I think it looks pretty cool like that. These games are just monotonous fun. It's like Dynasty Warriors, but with guns and giant robots and giant aliens and creatures. So I'm looking forward to playing it. I've played all the other ones and I enjoyed them. So want something a little bit more monotonous and fun tonight. And then I think tonight I'm going to start a new show on BritBox. I'm debating on whether I want to continue just watch Yes Prime Minister, because I finished Yes Minister last night, or if I just want to start something completely new on BritBox. And as always guys, so we've got the health visit coming around soon. You might notice there's a few things have changed in the bedroom. My partner took that I don't know if you can see it, she took that thing downstairs, so I just need to sort some stuff out. I'm probably going to go through anyway and look at my DVDs and see which ones I can put up, because what's the time now? Yeah, 1 o'clock. So I've got about an hour, so I'm going to quickly go through that and start doing that. Why not? And as always, guys, if you follow me on Twitter and Instagram at the Mad Kiger, my eBay store is in the link on my channel if you guys want to see what I've got for sale. Because if you're interested in buying Daymare off me, I'll sell it for you for a good price. Probably asking about 20 quid for it. So I think I paid about £20 for it. I think the average price is about £25. And as always, guys, have a nice day, and I will see you in the next video. Take care, and bye-bye.